the latest batch of Twitter files revealing more details of FBI influence on Twitter to try to censor the Hunter Biden laptop story, and the White House simply refusing to answer questions about it all. Roll tape.
The latest Twitter files show that the intelligence community was actively involved in discrediting the Hunter Biden laptop story. Does it bother the president and those at the White House that a government agency like the FBI was involved in suppressing a legitimate news story?
Again, I'm just going to refer you to the FBI. I'm not going to comment from here about that.
We are joined now by Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton. Tom, the extraordinary thing is they are referring people, they're referring the media to the organization that apparently was disseminating misinformation to try to influence a social media company. I mean, why should we go to them for the story when they were providing the media with misinformation before?
Well, yeah, and on top of that, last I checked, Joe Biden is president of the United States. He's responsible for the conduct of the FBI and should be demanding accountability. Is this still going on? On top of this effort to interfere with the election at that time, you had the FBI working with their former colleague, James Baker, over at Twitter, who was the former top attorney for the FBI, moved over to Twitter. You had the FBI paying Twitter to censor and spy on Americans. So what else was the FBI? Who else is the FBI paying? Were they paying Facebook, it looks like? Were they paying Google and YouTube, which owns YouTube? Look, the FBI paid Christopher Steele to dig up dirt and create dirt on Donald Trump. And then again, the FBI starts paying Twitter and these other big social media platforms to spy on Americans, and it looks like to suppress information that could have helped Trump and hurt Biden during the campaign. This is direct election interference, and the Biden administration needs to be held accountable for it. The irony is it occurred during the Trump administration, and isn't it interesting? Yeah. It's one of the few things during the Trump administration that they don't want to talk about.
Right, right. Well, and it's what's extraordinary is Democrats were leading the charge against the FBI 40 years ago during something called the Church Committee hearings after Watergate to try to say you got to take politics out of the FBI, you got to take it out of all the intel services, which were also playing a role in this cover-up. I mean, it's just whatever happened to their concern about civil liberties?
Well, and on top of that, they are doing it now. The Twitter files show that the relationships continued until very recently, and it's not just the FBI, it's Department of Homeland Security. They have special relationships with these big tech companies to suppress information. And from the White House podium and from the president, you've had direct instructions and cajoling of the big tech platforms to continue to censor Americans on topics the Biden people are sensitive about, like COVID and other disputes that Joe Biden thinks that you're not allowed to think differently from him on. Otherwise, you'll be censored from Twitter and elsewhere.
Hey, Tom, before we go, I want to talk about January 6th. We had 4 criminal referrals from the January 6th committee for Donald Trump. What happens now?
Well, I don't think much is going to happen with those referrals. I think the more problematic issue is the Justice Department currently is using January 6th as a pretext to go after those who disputed, it looks like in good faith, the election in 2020. It was a big controversy. It was a big debate. And there was a big fight about what state, federal, and constitutional laws applied to election disputes. And now the Biden team wants to jail those who raise questions about the election process. It's to me, it's suppression. And obviously the target is Donald Trump, who is the likely candidate against Biden, which is just further indication that the DOJ, with the help of the House, is terribly politicized.
Tom Fitton, we got to leave it at that. Good to see you. Have a wonderful Christmas and New Year's.